Hey everybody, welcome to episode 33 of the Rowe-Thrush Solution Selling Show. This week we're kicking off Fire Prevention Month in October with Leatherhead Tools, having them come and join us once again. So what is the Solution Selling Show? This is a weekly podcast that we do for the Grainger sales force, where basically every Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time, we bring on a different supplier partner of ours and we interview them live on YouTube as well as on LinkedIn, asking them the types of questions that we feel a Grainger account manager would want to know before they go and talk to their customers. So with that said, I want to welcome Rick Parker to the show once again. Hey, Rick, how are you doing today?
Doing really great. Good to be back.
Yeah, glad to have you here once again, kicking off Fire Prevention Month. Figured you guys are the perfect supplier partner to kick that off, having firefighting equipment and whatnot. So really looking forward to getting into a little bit more about some additional products that you sell to Grainger this time. And looking forward to this interview here. So why don't we get right into it? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then I have another question I want to ask you.
Yeah, sure. I have been in the products or consumer products and industrial business for my whole career, selling hardware type products. And the Dasco Pro company, we sold chisels and punches, and we also sell all kinds of fiberglass products, handles for hammers, do some of that OEM, but most of it is done for our own tools. And then about 12 years ago, we started the firefighter business in the fire service with fire extrication tools, forced entry tools. We saw a niche in that marketplace that wasn't really being served fully and really still isn't being served fully other than with our offering. And we had the forging products, we had the fiberglass products. So we put together a line of firefighter tools, and happy to say that we're probably one of the top names in the industry.
Oh, that you definitely are. And the Dasco Pro name, that's actually what started our relationship with you, getting the Dasco Pro line into Grainger. And then when you guys created Leatherhead, you came to us and said, hey, let's try and get our firefighting equipment in too. And that was actually one of my first, start to finish type, programs that I started with Grainger back when I first started here at Rowe-Thrush. So very happy to see how far this program with Leatherhead has gone with Grainger, and looking forward to the future, definitely. Now, before we, go ahead.
I would add that Grainger over the years has supported in more and more items, and they have the full line offering in almost all categories. There's always exceptions to the rules, but they handle all of our Halligan tools, all of our pike poles, axes, anything that a firefighter would need in the extrication business. They have a fine offering and they display it well on their website too. So I'd say that Grainger probably has the best website out there offering our tool.
Well, little fact you may not know, Grainger is the first company to create an MRO distribution website back in, I think it was 1990. One of the Grainger catalogs behind me actually says, hey, check us out on Grainger.com too. So way back when.
Yeah.
So, and the Dasco Pro side of business, you actually sold that to another partner of ours, Vaughn, that manufactures hammers. So you can rest assured that the Dasco Pro name is still being manufactured in the United States by a very reputable forging manufacturer as well here in Illinois too. So that was a great story to tell. Now, one other question for you. Last time we had you on, you were on earlier this year, and the question of the year is who's your favorite band and why? And you had answered Eric Clapton. Phenomenal guitar player, great singing voice. And that weekend, yes, I did listen to Eric Clapton, while I was probably out in the garden working on my tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that. So I figured since I'm having you come back on, I didn't want to ask you the same question. So I figured I would ask you the question that I asked last year during season one to all of our guests. And that is, what is your favorite movie and why?
So my favorite movie would be Cool Hand Luke, and Paul Newman, great guy, and told the story of sort of a kind of maverick, kind of no count kind of guy. Everybody's probably seen the movie, saw the heads off of parking meters, and basically was a recalcitrant and bucked the system, you know.
The first time I saw that, it was with my mom in her kitchen, and it started off with him cutting the heads off of the parking meters and whatnot. And I was just like, this is going to be an interesting movie. I can already tell. And the egg scene, popular scene there. And there's a famous line that's in a Guns N' Roses song. What we have here is a failure to communicate. And I love Guns N' Roses. So, I had heard that song in the song Civil War, which has that line in the beginning of it many, many times. And upon watching that movie with my mom, I hear it. I'm like, oh my God, that's where it's from. It was really cool to be able to put the two together. So awesome movie pick. And that's actually a movie I haven't seen in quite a while. It is a classic movie too. So maybe I'll see if I can find that on Netflix or Amazon and maybe watch that this weekend if I can find it. So thank you for the movie pick. Appreciate that. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Leatherhead now? You alluded to when you guys came about, but you have a really unique story as far as who you consulted with. And I really love hearing this story. I love telling this story, but I love hearing it from you. So tell us how you came about making the firefighting products that you guys have.
So, I mean, every time that you start a new business, you try and figure out, is there a need in the marketplace? So we always tried to go down to the end user to find out, is this a viable option? So we had a pizza night at the factory for the local fire trade, and about 26 firefighters came for pizza and beer. We had put together some ideas on pike poles, for example, high-vis pike poles with reflective tape. And then out of that came a lot of ideas from them. And through the course of our history of our company, we have always kept on retainer, if you will, 4 national trainers who are trained and nationally known for their work in forced entry. And so twice a year, we are always meet with them, tweaking our products to try and keep them the top quality functionality wise, because we always are cognizant and aware that these tools save people's lives. And so we want to make sure that we put out the best quality and that they're engineered with the firefighter end user in mind. And so that's how we've ran our business, and that's one of our values of the company.
Awesome. And, you guys manufacture your products in the US right here in Illinois, Rockford, consulting with the Rockford area fire departments. I just love hearing that story, that they helped you create it, and for the small price of some pizza and beer. It's a very cool story to tell. And you're absolutely right. These tools are designed to help save lives. So really appreciate the dedication that the Leatherhead team, the factory workers, yourself, Dan, everybody at the team, the effort that you guys put into making better tools and innovating these products. So when it comes to these tools, obviously firefighters is a type of customer that would be interested, but are there any other customer types that would be interested in Leatherhead or even your SET line of products?
Well, that's a really good question because once again, on the American-made aspect of the tools, we're very compliant. Everything is made in the United States. For anybody who's doing any government work out there, not only government requires to buy American first, but also the firefighters and policemen themselves would prefer to have American products versus China products. And again, this goes back to quality and goes back to workmanship. And so what's happened is that actually the category has expanded from not only the fire trade, but we also have what we call our special entry tools. With the active shooters over the past year and a half, the demand for the tools have become a high increase in the demand for the tools because almost every public area that has a responsibility of getting into the building are requiring the tools. We have police officers calling, schools calling, even the toll roads are calling us. Anybody, again, who needs access right away. We put together we put together a nice set of tools. One is the Halligan bar, which is everybody's familiar with the Halligan bar and the forks, and it marries with a sledgehammer, which is and then we also wrap around a Velcro marrying strap, and these two tools can be put into police cars, work areas, so that they're handy, that if everything gets locked, that you can still force entry into the building or even car if you need to be. So I would say that the number of customers that you have to call on would be, of course, the fire trade, the L&E. You have fire trainers and trainers. Then you also would have anybody who's responsible for fleets, buildings, and public safety. So the market is really expanded.
Yeah, thank you for covering all that. And actually, when you mentioned fire trainers, that reminded me that myself, and we even had John Lockwood join us with Laura Blanchard out in New York to do a virtual training of your tools. And John did such a great job walking through your products and training the trainer at a local New York State training facility. So that was really cool that we were able to do that. And hey, Laura, if you're watching, hope you enjoy the show here today. So thank you for covering all those customer types. So, basically firefighters, trainers, law enforcement, military, all first responders. Those are all great customers that you'll want to go to when it comes to talking about Leatherhead and SET, or special entry tools. So now we're going to get into some additional products. But before we do, just want to make a quick shout out about the last time we had you on, Rick, where we talked about your Halligan bar at length, your Ultra Force axe, and how that works with a Halligan bar. Really cool product. Actually, I'll include a link, a card right about now that will show you Leatherhead's YouTube video about how the Ultra Force axe and Halligan bar will work together. the Lockwood hook too, we talked about, as well as a TNT tool too. So do you want to talk really quickly about any of those products before we move on to snow poles?
Well, I would just say that those are key products. The Halligan bar is probably our number one item by a long way. And then the forced axe is also goes hand in hand with that. I'd also mentioned this time, because of the expansion of the demand, Halligan bars are on high demand. And so if you have customers that are looking for Halligans, I would get the orders in when you can, because there's a backlog on Halligans. Anyways, those are, along with the Lockwood hook. The Lockwood hook itself is just a sort of a pike. It serves the pike pole like a pike pole, and it's also good for sounding roofs and also for pulling sheetrock.
Yeah, and that Lockwood hook was actually designed by John Lockwood, who is a trainer, a national trainer for firefighting. And I was pointing, we have one right over here. So he designed this, and Leatherhead went into mass production of this tool with him. So great product there. So all those products we covered last time we had Rick on the show. So today, though, we're going to be talking about a different group of products that they have. They're all under the Leatherhead name, and there's a couple products under SET Tools. I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera right now so that I can show up close a little bit better the other product here. So starting with the snow poles, I'm holding one up right now. So there we go. So why don't you start with the top of it here, Rick?
So yeah, well, first of all, just to kind of outline the market, I think that you have a lot of different customers for snow poles. Anybody who is marking their properties, whether it's snow or just in the summertime to mark your property, are using boundary markers. Our tool, snow pole, this goes back to 1971. We actually came out with the fiberglass pole with the reflective tape on it. Prior to that, there was always just basically the lollipop, which was a reflected circle on top of a pole. Well, they broke, they got thrown away, people stole them. And so we were able to perform the same function with actually increased what they call candlelight with the reflective tape. Also, the top of the pole itself, we have a patented metal cap. This is good when they're trying to install, when do people buy snow poles? Normally after it snows. Unfortunately, the ground may be a little bit hard, so we put the metal cap on so people can pound it in with a hammer, or in a case of guys who use a lot of them, they'll take a conduit pipe and then they'll put a cap on it, or weld the cap on it, and then use it conduit pipe to kind of slip down over and over to pound it in. Prior to snow poles like this, people used wooden sticks. Well, the problem with those where you had to gather them up every year, and you had to find a place, you had to repaint them. So this has been the choice of most property managers. They're also very good looking when you get out there. They're clean, and they just work really well. So I would say that now that on this type product, you probably is your number one item from our line, Dasco Pro, is this marker. I think last year you might have sold 70,000 or 80,000 of them, along with the green one, and probably another 30,000. So it's a high volume item. People need them. They come in 10 packs. So it's something that almost everybody can use. Probably everybody who's listening to this, if they're above the snow belt line, can use this product. come wintertime, if there's any snow at all. So we have the only that I know of American-made product with a metal cap on it, because most of these type products have been imported, and the thread content, the fiber content, nowhere near what ours is. So it's an item that I think everybody has customers for.
Yeah, and so like Rick said, these come in packs of 10. And you have the orange color that I'm holding here, as well as a lime green. So again, high vis colors. That way you can they really pop it with the snow laying on the ground, and the reflective stripe is a really great feature. My favorite though is the metal cap. My parents, their driveway's kind of long, and they have a plow truck that always comes and plows their driveway for them. And I've used other snow pole markers before, and when I saw this cap, I was like, I know exactly why, because I've hammered these so many times, and they split, they break, they crack, they fall apart. But with this cap, I kid you not, my dad's had the same snow poles for probably almost 10 years now. So, and they still work just as fine as they did when he got them. So awesome product. We figured, let's talk about this for this episode, because winter months are ahead of us. So we wanted to get this product featured on the show here today. So thank you for covering all of that. Now we're going to go into
one last comment on that, James. People use the snow pole so that they don't have to come back and fix concrete, repair lawns. So by using these inexpensive products, they save big repair costs after the snow is melted.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've seen my parents' yard dug up by snowplows. And other things could get damaged. Landscape lighting, bushes, other things. Statues that are buried under the snow. So, very important thing to start talking to your customers about: property management. Cities. All different types of applications and customers would be interested in these products. And I should have included the Grainger SKUs in the ticker down below for these items. I didn't think to do that, but I'll look these up while you start talking about the pike poles that we have here too. So, which one do you want me to pull up first?
So I would want to show the yellow one. This is probably the most popular and the oldest among the pipe poles, not with the rub. That actually has a rubbish head. The most popular one is the one behind the dog bone with the American head. And on this tool here, we sell that in dog bone or I-beam, and also in a round. And it's probably the most popular item. They come in all sizes, 3 foot to 14 foot. And you can see in the middle there is reflective tape. So, a lot of times in the dark, the fire's over with, people are trying to find their tools, so they flash a light on that and they can find them. We also have 3 colors: high vis lime, high vis orange, and yellow. A lot of cases, fire departments will color code their trucks with the different tools. The market again on these type products also is very tight. We've had a number of headwinds with manufacturers who manufacture these tools, and I'm proud to say that we're still able to service Grainger on these products. We've done a good job this year. I think that their sales are up over 100% on these type tools. So Grainger is probably one of the only distributors that is actually delivering these products. because there's just been headwinds, that, like I said, in delivery and also logistics. So we put Grainger first. When we get their orders, we ship Grainger first. So that's why we've had good sales this year, I would say. It comes with 3 different heads. That's an American hook. The other one that James had there, you can show that. The other one, James, which is a trash hook for raking trash, and also is used on the roof to sound the roof. But that's used for raking trash. And then we also have one other design that I don't think that we have here, but it's a drywall head. So it comes in 3 heads. It comes in lengths 3 foot to 14. It comes with or without D handle. And you can show the butt handle there. I think you have on that is a butt handle. And also on the other one, I think is a butt handle. But we also have it in D handle.
And one thing to note, I personally like the dog bone pole better because the reflective stripe, which on a round pole just goes around the top, but on the dog bone pole, it runs the whole length of the handle. So there's a lot more reflective nature to it. So that's personally my favorite style handle that you guys have, or pole, I should say, I guess. But different, this pole is actually a lot lighter than the dog bone pole. It's a heavier product, so some people may like the lighter feature of a round pole versus the dog bone pole.
Yeah, that's called the Pro Light, and it's lighter. Dog bone is solid fiberglass, so it's a stronger product. It also comes at a bit higher price also.
And I'm currently trying to look up those SKUs for the fire hydrant markers to call them out because there's just 2 SKUs to them. When with these dog bone poles and pro light poles, there's many variations. Like Rick said, you have you have the D handle on the end. You have different colors. You have different lengths, and pretty much your entire line is loaded into Grainger. So really, whatever it is that you or your customers may want, they are available. And I did find the Grainger SKUs. So for the driveway markers, the lime green 10-pack is Grainger SKU 35J as in John, G as in George 42, and the high-vis orange 10-pack is the same number, but instead of it ending in 42, it is 43. So SKU 35JG43 for the orange poles. So, all right. With that, we covered the pike poles. Anything else that you wanted to talk about before we get on to the breacher irons?
No, I think that we can just show the breaker. The pike poles are pike poles. It's one of the oldest kind of tools in the fire trade or the fire service. Now these breacher irons, again, I showed the smaller set of them, and they are, again, they're colored black because law enforcement tends to want more of a black color. The SWAT, we also do a lot of business with SWAT teams, and they tend to want a black color. We're also getting calls for those who call on the government, getting calls from all sorts of different government companies asking for quotes on essentially this tool. These 2 tools will replace in anybody who was selling the Black Hawk tools. They essentially, I think, have stopped shipping anything. And from other customers, I've learned they just won't ship. So not only are tools better tools, and any breacher would tell you that, but also they're available. So if you have customers out there who are looking, or you have back orders on Blackhawk, you might consider our our tools right here, which would replace directly the Blackhawk tools that you have and you can't get.
Now, when it comes to your sledgehammers, do they come in different head weights? Meaning the head here, do you have like 8 pound options, 6 pound options? When it comes to the SET tools like this one.
Yes, we do. We have so that's an 8 pound. We also have 6 and 10. Um, I don't know why you'd want any more than a 10 pounder but we also have in our regular Leatherhead line 12 pounders. And I would say that the 8 is the most popular. It also comes without the mirroring bracket. So some people don't want the mirroring bracket on it. They'd rather have the sledge without it. So it comes both ways, with mirroring bracket and without mirroring bracket.
Yeah, and the marrying bracket's a nice feature because as you saw, the Halligan bar just slides right into it and it marries the Halligan bar to the sledgehammer, making it a lot easier for the user to carry both tools at the same time. And a lot of times, these men and women that are using them, they need both tools when they're out in the field. Um, One other question that I have, the handle on this is quite a bit shorter than most sledgehammers that you guys have. Why is that the case? Why is this a shorter handle on here?
Well, we try and marry the handle up with the size of the Halligan bar so that they marry together and nest together. And then we put the Velcro strap on it.
Now, previously we had talked about the Halligan features last time you were on. Is this essentially the same exact Halligan bar? Does it have all the same features to it, just painted black?
Yes, the only difference is the finish. Again, the SWAT and the special forces and also the law enforcement, they prefer black to silver.
So you have for those of you that maybe haven't seen it, a lower profile here at the very top. Very nice and sharp too. On the other opposite end here, the actual fork, very sharp as well here to be able to get into doorways.
Yeah, you'll find that the breachers and firefighters find and like our tool because we manufacture our tool, the thickness of our forks and end so that they can use the product right out of the box. Our competitors, the thickness of their forks and their end are probably 25 or 30% thicker. So what they have to do is they have to what they call dress them. And so they'll take them and they'll grind them down and have to work a long time because you can't just grind it down because that if you put heat on metal, it will affect the strength of the metal. So you have to file those down, which takes a long time for them to do. So that's why our tool is preferred in the marketplace.
Awesome. Now, lastly, we want to cover your New York claw that you have. So we have that over here against the wall, and yes, some of you may notice that we have a police riot shield as well as a sheriff shield. That's with another supplier of ours under the name United Shield International. They will actually be joining us on our show the Friday before Veterans Day. So make sure to mark your calendars. That's going to be one of our last episodes that we do for this season. So make sure to join us to learn more about United Shield.
So that's the New York hook with the fork end, right? Yeah, so that's our New York hook. And on the other end, so I think this is a 5-footer. On the other end, you'll see a fork end. So This is a product we call the New York Claw. And, people like to have, they can use that end along with, in a 6-foot length, they can use that also for prying, using the New York hook for taking down drywall and floors and window sashes.
So what's interesting about this, you have the New York head here that a lot of firefighters do enjoy using. And then on the opposite end, yeah, that's the same type of fork that you saw on the Halligan bar. So basically it's the best of both worlds. You have a Halligan fork on one end and a New York hook on the other end. So various lengths available. And if I remember right, this doesn't only come in black, correct? Don't you have like high vis yellow maybe
Yes,
with
correct.
this too?
High vis yellow also in that, and the New York hooks all come in high vis yellow too, or lime. Firefighters are crazy. They have a new idea for a new hook, or they want to put this end on that end. So we're always talking to them about different types of tools, that they think would do the job better.
It's funny that you say firefighters are crazy because they're always coming up with new stuff. And I remember when I first started working with you and you were telling me about how firefighters will modify their tools. They'll have to sharpen their Halligan bar right out of the box. And you were like, this is no good. We want it to be tuned perfectly for them right out of the box. So you wanted to make a better tool for them. But they're constantly innovating themselves. John Lockwood, for instance, he was a firefighter, maybe still currently is, I'm not sure, but he created the Lockwood hook, which again, it's right over my shoulder here. He created this design because he was like, how could I do my job better? And he created it, and then he partnered with Leatherhead to actually mass produce this hook so that all firefighting agencies have the possibility of using this really cool, innovative tool. And I remember doing my research about firefighters, and yeah, sure enough, they're constantly modifying and trying to make their tools better and perform better for them when they're out in the field. So it's great to partner with a manufacturer such as Leatherhead. Really appreciate you coming onto the show here. Now, when it comes to the New York Claw, that last product we featured, this item is not in Grainger's system, so you would have to go through Grainger sourcing in order to purchase it for your customers. Just reach out to myself if you're looking for a 4-footer, the part number for a 4-footer, 5-footer, 6-footer, what have you. I'll help you out with getting you the part numbers to put down on the RFQ for your customer. Do you have any final words at all for us, Rick, before we close up the show?
Listen, I just thank Grainger and everybody's efforts, and I appreciate doing business with you guys.
Great. Now, our next live stream will be next Friday. So Friday the 13th. How cool is that it falls in October? I always love it when this happens. So I'll probably be enjoying some good horror movies next Friday. Not Cool Hand Luke then, but it will be Merit Products. So another firefighting manufacturer. So they manufacture medical bags that can be used for firefighters, EMTs, first responders, police, military. So really great product line from them when it comes to medical bags. So if you have customers that would be interested in those types of products, make sure you join us next Friday, the 13th at 2:00 Central Time. So with that, Rick, thank you so much for joining us once again. Really appreciate you taking the time out to prepare for this. Not that we had to prepare too much. We had most of the work already done, but also for joining me on the show here today. Really appreciate your time.
Great. Thank you.
So for those of you that want to reach out to Rick or myself, here's our contact information. Let me get rid of that ticker there. Here's our contact information. If you have any questions about anything that we did or did not cover here today, please feel free to reach out to either one of us and we'll help you out. So hope everybody has a great weekend and enjoy your weekend. Thank you.